Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? That's your responsibility. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple, and departed, and he went and hanged himself. Matthew 27, verse 3 through 5. In his book, What New Doctrine Is This?, Bob Schuller cites the story of a chain maker who produced a chain no one could break. Later, he committed a crime for which he was sentenced to be chained to a large rock in a dungeon and left to die. This sentence caused the criminal no grief, because he thought he knew all about chains and could easily escape. The chain maker would be the chain breaker. He slept soundly, determined to awaken at midnight and free himself. He did awaken. The moon was shining through the bars of his dungeon. He smiled at the embarrassment of the keeper of the prison and the chagrin of the judge when the news of his flight would break. He moved his shackled limbs. He examined the chain, and the horror, it was the chain of his own forging. For months, Judas had been forging a chain that eventually proved impossible to break. He had schemed, he had misappropriated funds, he had criticized, he had sought personal preferment over his colleagues. All these activities he had rationalized as means to a desirable end. He had adopted a new morality that he considered far more sophisticated than the simple faith of his fellow disciples. And despite all of this insincerity, he managed to hold the confidence of his peers. Only Jesus sensed the direction in which Judas was headed. His theories crashed when he saw the one whom he had betrayed, flogged, bound, and condemned. He tried to undo his wrongs by returning the payment, but it was already too late. He threw the 30 pieces of silver on the floor of the temple, but the clanging of the metal on the ground only mocked him. He acknowledged himself a sinner, but no one on earth or in heaven offered him pardon. The only one that could was the one he condemned to death. If only he knew that although he trapped himself with a chain of his own forging, no chain is too strong that Jesus Christ can't break and set you free from. And as always, think on these things.